Live from Páirc Uí Chaoimh, it's the All-Ireland Senior Camøige Championship quarter-final between Tipperary and Waterford, with throw-in coming up at 6:45. Well, Tipperary topped Group 1 with a clean sweep of 3 wins from 3, but missed out on the direct path to the semi-finals by the look of the draw. Bill Mullaney's Charges will need another win here today to progress to that Final Four. Waterford, meanwhile, turned around a disappointing National League campaign to come good for Championship, securing key wins over Down and Dublin to progress from Group 2. It's a 4th consecutive senior quarter-final since their first ever in 2018. Is today the day the Daisha make it to the semi-finals? Well, what do you think? Obviously, we talked about Tipperary at the start of the show about having topped the group and just losing out on the look of the draw, getting straight to a semi-final. Their possession game will be key today, Elaine.
Yeah, I think Tip are hurling really, really well, and the word I've used all year is composure. They look so composed, so confident on the ball, whether that's working it out from the back, as we see in this puck out here. You know, the ball goes through the lines, through 7 sets of hands. I think even when they're turned over, they have the composure to win the ball back, to do the right thing with it again. Grace O'Brien comes in off the back of that ruck there. Lovely ball across to Roisin Howard, takes on the defence. She's dispossessed again, but look who pops up out the back of that ruck again. It's Quater and swings over a lovely point. Similarly, in their group game against Limerick, it was Quater out around the middle of the field, the supplier this time into Clodagh McIntyre, into all that space, and Clodagh could have taken on the player there, but looks up, and similar to Kilkenny in that first game, sees the player coming off her shoulder. It's Grace O'Brien on that occasion, and that's Tip's 6 points, and it's their 6th scorer. In this clip, it's reversed. It's Grace O'Brien puts the ball into Clodagh McIntyre again, and it's Quater coming off the back again. So Tip have been really, really economical with their possession. They've been really composed on the ball, and they've made a count on the scoreboard, and I think they've probably moved on even from where they were last year. I think they've taken it up another level, and I think they're just hurling really well at the moment.
Dublin were blown away by their physicality, and that was coming from one of their selectors, Sarah O'Donovan, during the week, that they've really come on in their physicality as well. How are Waterford going to set up? Do they need to be very defensive?
Yeah, well, Evan, speaking of their physicality, just to show what Tipperary are about, like their forward lines, like their line of defence, they're intense, they're relentless, the pressure in the tackle, they overturn the ball here, and again, the inside line, the 2 free players Tipperary, Waterford won't be able to do that, and Roisin Howard gets an excellent goal. Like, really, you want to see here, this was Waterford against Down when they grinded out that win, swarming the player. They were really comfortable, they held them up, no foul, then it caused a little bit of pressure and Down, and again they snuffed out that attack. Waterford will need to do that time and time again. Just to compare and contrast, this is last year's quarter-final, so diagonal ball again, Quater who's really influential, into the space, they come onto the ball, and Nicole Walsh gets a great point. Now Waterford, they need to do more of what I'm about to show you here. So diagonal ball again, very similar, but this time the pressure is there, the bodies are around, a very well-timed flick, alert players, and then they work the ball out. Waterford are going to need to constantly do this, because I think with Tipperary, we questioned last year about their lack of goal scoring. They've scored 9 goals so far in this year's championship. They'll need to make sure that they don't score early goals.
Is there an over-reliance from a Waterford point of view, Elaine, on Niamh Rockett and Beth Carton?
There is up front, I think, and Waterford are very similar to Tip. I think for years we were talking about the over-dependency Tip had on Quater up front, and Waterford are similar to that at the moment. They're a very young team. I think sometimes we forget, I think the average age of that Waterford team is only around 22, so they are very young, and obviously Niamh Rockett and Beth Carton are some of the more established players, and they're their go-to players, but it's often been a conundrum for them. Where do they play Beth Carton? Where is she best suited? You know, they need her up front scoring, but she also supplies such fantastic ball in. Last year here, Mary Ryan probably got the better of her in on the edge of the square, and I think in one of Anna's clips there, it was actually Quater Beth Carton back dispossessing on her own square, so that's not where Waterford need her. But look, Niamh Rockett's had a massive campaign to date, and she's well capable of getting goals, so she's someone that Waterford would really look to today to try and rattle the Tip net.
OK, well, we will be joining our commentary team of Ger Canning and Kate Kelly very shortly for the latest team news from the Tipperary and Waterford dressing rooms. But first, let's hear from both managers. Bill Mullaney and Derek Lyons have been speaking with Valerie Wheeler.
Bill, you're used to Waterford at this stage, surely playing on this much has some advantages.
I don't know. I know we're playing them a lot and they're playing us a lot too, so we know each other fairly well. But it just shows that it's going to be a very tight, very hard game, as it always has been, even though the scoreline didn't reflect it. Like, I mean, we found it, we had to work hard. We had to earn our victories against Waterford over the last couple of years, Nothing is ever handed to you, like, especially at this stage of the competition,
We have seen Tipperary go from strength to strength this year as well. What's that down to?
I don't know. It's probably, probably a bit more experience, probably bitterness of losing a few tight matches over the years as well. We had to learn from defeats as much as you can from victories as well.
A positive sign to still be involved in the business end of the championship, and a crucial game here today against Tipperary now.
Absolutely. Look, yeah, and I mean, there's a lot of good teams that we would have came across during the year that aren't here today. So we're conscious of that. We're privileged to be here today in a quarter-final game. It's our third time in a row being here, and obviously there's a lot made of the fact that we haven't got beyond the quarter-final. I think this is Tipperary's 7th quarter-final in a row, so there's a gap there straight away in terms of expectations. But look, we're not here just to make up numbers. We're here to break that duck and get through to the first semi-final for this team. So that's the challenge.
Thanks very much. Best of luck, Derek.
Thanks, Valerie. Okay, bye.
Both managers sounding very, very positive. We're looking forward to it in windswept Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Let's take the team news. Tipperary, playing at the quarter-final stage for the 7th year in a row, have selected Caoimhe Burke to start in goal in place of last year's All-Star Anya Slattery. Another All-Star, fullback Mary Ryan, is now in her 17th year at this level, while yet another decorated player, Karen Kennedy of Thurles Sarsfields, is the team's centre-half back. It's Grace O'Brien and Arena Friday in midfield, and then an attack featuring Orla O'Dwyer, who played Aussie rules last winter, and the ultra-reliable Coit Devan at number 14, with starts as well this time for Emer McGrath and Clodagh McIntyre. The opponents from Waterford are playing in a 4th successive All-Ireland quarter-final. Brianna O'Regan has kept goal in the last 2. And in the absence of the injured Siobhan Harney, Keely Corbett-Barry lines up at cornerback alongside Iona Heffernan and Kate Lynch, while the highly regarded Lorraine Barry is an All-Star from 2 years ago. It'll be Shona Curran and Clara Griffin in the middle of the park for Waterford, with the main scoring threat expected to come from Beth Carton, if she can overcome an injury that is still troubling her, with Niamh Rockett there as well, and of course the returned Vicky Falconer offering additional options up front. Well, lots of options available to both sets of management teams. For Tipperary, Casey Hennessy and Kareem Blair both started the last match against Wexford, while Miriam Campion is a cousin of the McGrath sisters and could feature at some stage. While for Waterford, Sheena McGuckian, Anne Corcoran, Claire White and Fiona Morrissey, well, they all got game time in the last match, and that was against Cork. Referee Liz Dempsey, she'll be starting this 2nd quarter-final at 6:45.
Thanks very much, Ger Canning. Yeah, match nearly almost upon us. And I want to ask you about Tipperary, because, in the past we talked about, Waterford maybe over-reliant on Beth and Niamh. Tipperary in the past have been over-reliant on Coit Devan, not anymore. Lots of scorers. And also, it's great to see Orla O'Dwyer back.
Absolutely. I mean, they've had 12 different scores so far in the championship. Orla O'Dwyer 3-5. She's such an exciting player, and it's brilliant that she's available, because for last year's championship she already had pre-season for the AFLW. So it's great that she's back. She's a great vision as well, and she's great to spray the ball out. But Clodagh McIntyre, for me, inside in the corner, really lively, has won 2 already. Emer McGrath, Marion Campion even on the bench. We were saying earlier on, Tipperary have a really strong bench, and against Wexford the last day, in the last 5 minutes, the bench really made that impact, and I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Derek Lyons said there, Elaine, that Waterford aren't coming here to make up numbers, and I mean no disrespect to Wexford, but are we going to get a more competitive match for the full 60?
Yeah, you would hope so. Let's not forget, Waterford were in this game last year right up to the final end. It took a brilliant save from Anya Slattery, from Beth Carton coming near the end of it, to keep Waterford at bay last year. So they will have huge aspirations. Look, as we said, they've turned their season around completely. No one could have predicted this at the start of the league, so there's obviously fantastic belief within that group, and they've been growing with every game. As I said, that win over Down was so crucial, and they've just built on it from there and in. They won't have any fear of Tipperary. They know that they're well capable of beating them, so if Waterford bring that intensity, they're capable of a rattling Tip, and you never know coming down the home straight then.
Yeah, Shona Curran said it during the week, that it was the disappointment that they felt they didn't bring that intensity to last year's quarter-final. And if you remember, 2 years ago, they really gave Galway a fright, and Galway went on to win the All-Ireland. So they are capable of it. It just depends if they can do it.
We're just hearing that Beth Carton will not start for Waterford. Anne Corcoran is going to start. Now, we don't know where she'll start, maybe in full forward, but Beth is a huge loss, isn't she, Elaine?
Absolutely. Even from an experience point of view, we don't even need to talk about her scoring exploits and what she's capable of hurling-wise out on the field, but just experience. As I said, this is a young Waterford team. Beth is probably the most experienced. You know, she's hurled Ashburns with UL, she's won Ashburns with ULs, she's all-star material, you know.
She's their free taker.
And I should say it's an injury, it's not, you know,
she
it's not
did have an injury in the warm-up as well against Cork, and that ruled her out of that game, so maybe it's a reoccurring injury. We also saw Mary Ryan as well down here for Tipperary, people might have seen it on screen, getting some attention on her back, so hopefully she won't be lost early in the game.
What kind of a game can we expect here, Elaine? Are we going to get a fast pace, or is it going to be defensive? Because Tipperary love to play that possession game and run the ball.
Yeah, Tip are lovely hurlers. We were just talking about it beforehand. They hurl the ball so well through the line, so I expect them to try and attack Waterford that way.
Okay, time for our Onavian.
So all set to go at Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and for the second year in a row and third time in 4 years, Tipperary and Waterford meet in the semi-final stage of the Camøige All-Ireland Championship. And there's the referee, Liz Dempsey from Kilkenny. She's got Justin Heffernan from Wexford and Kevin O'Brien from Limerick as her linesmen, and John McDonough from Galway is the fourth official. Alongside me, I've got Kate Kelly. Kate, that is pretty devastating news for Waterford that Beth Carton isn't going to start.
Yeah, it's hugely disappointing for Waterford, and you know, your all-star player and one of Waterford's really key players for the last number of years, Beth has been ruled out for an injury that ruled her out of last game as well, so a huge blow to Waterford and their exploits here today.
Well, they had to do without her, as you say, for the Cork game. I think she injured or felt a hamstring just before that and was withdrawn. So I guess they probably felt behind it all that she was unlikely to start. So the match gets underway here. And well, not more than a light, they've got a strong breeze, in fact, blowing down towards the Black Rock end on a bright, sunny Saturday afternoon here in August. And we're hoping it will be a very, very competitive match between two teams who know one another particularly well. That line ball was taken by Sarah Lacey in as far as Ciara O'Sullivan. Breeze behind Waterford for the opening 30 minutes here. So they go again with Niamh Rocket. And in the absence of Beth Carton, an awful lot will depend upon Niamh Rocket, I think, to lift Waterford, to inspire them as they try and breach the glass circle, as it were, there that they are unable to get through year after year. That quarter-final barrier, it's a barrier they've been unable to pierce through, and Tipperary have been their opponents so many times. Free here for Niamh Rocket, the St Anne's player, the captain of the team as well. Up into the air, travelling nicely, looks very good indeed, and that is the opening point of the match. Good start.
Yeah, brilliant score by Niamh Rocket. Not an easy point, by no means. Out on the sideline, long range, out to the sideline, and that will settle Niamh Rocket into this game.
Marking was snacky in the middle of the park, and that has allowed Arena Friday then to get on an early possession here and try and set up an attack involving Orla O'Dwyer, and O'Dwyer hitting it off her left-hand side. That's a good reply. Teams level. Orla O'Dwyer the scorer.
Great response by Orla O'Dwyer. Caught down low, turned her player and over the bar. You know, Orla O'Dwyer will be a key player for Tipperary here today, and a great score by Orla.
Brianna O'Regan with her first puck out. Holding on to it here is Ciara O'Sullivan, looking to try and make a little bit of headway immediately. The Tipperary players come in and try to spoil the clean possession that she was hoping to take there, but there is a support player going forward, and taking it up eventually is Lorraine Bray. They'll be expecting a big performance from the left half back. Driven down into space here, picked up by Arena Friday again. 45 metres out, hitting it off the left once more. The breeze carries it in. It's a lovely score, and Tipperary go in front for the first time.
Yeah, lovely score by Arena Flyday, and a great movement from the tip forwards up front. Lovely strike by Arena into the breeze and over the bar.
From the Waterford puck out here, it is Abby Flynn getting onto it. Left half forward, playing it in there towards the replacement for Beth Carton. That's Anne Corcoran wearing number 18, playing it full forward, surrounding the Tipperary player in possession there, who was Karen Kennedy. Kennedy did well to drop the ball, otherwise the referee would be calling her for overholding. Waterford come again, looking to try and level things up. Abby Flynn there, helped out by Sarah Lacey. Picked up in the end, however, by Karen Kennedy. Won back by Lorraine Bray. On as far as Anne Corcoran. Loose ball here, running. Well, that was kicked forward in the end. The referee saw a foul, and it's going to be a free out for Tipperary. Lorraine Bray there just cursing her luck, I think, that it didn't quite go Waterford's way.
And possibly dropped her hurl in one of the new, I suppose, rules of the game. Just caught her out by dropping her hurl, but we'll be expecting a big game out of Lorraine Bray today as well.
There's Tipperary's corner forward, Nicole Walsh, very experienced player. Roisin Howard, who'll cover an awful lot of ground, and she hits it beautifully. Yeah, lovely score.
A refreshing start by Tipperary. Great movement up front. There's a score for Roisin Howard, add to Orlo Dwyer and Arena Friday. They're really starting to, you know, kick on Tipperary.
3 scoring chances and 3 points already by Tip. Tip the favourites. And Corcoran goes racing after this one here, trying to keep it in play, manages to get there ahead of the fullback, who is Mary Ryan. Here's Sarah Lacey. Lacey trying to cut inside here, then losing her way. And that's very good play by Aoife McGrath, just standing her ground, making sure there was nothing easy there from a Waterford point of view. Emer Lockman there needs help, gets it from Aoife McGrath, joint captain, but it's Vicky Falconer who's making some headway, and it's a little flick. Didn't quite go out over the end line, and Falconer has it again. Back once again towards Corcoran. Ooh, overhit that one to Lorraine Bray, but there's a chance still, and it's Ciara O'Sullivan, and O'Sullivan makes the most of it. They took a while to get there, but in the end, nicely put over the crossbar.
Yeah, great score by Waterford. Probably a little bit of inexperience shown by Sarah Lacey there when she broke free, but great work by Vicky Faulkner, and the ball was recirculated back out around, and a good score by Ciara O'Sullivan.
So 3 points to 2. Prospects of a decent match here. Waterford with that strong breeze behind them for the opening half, however, will need to make major inroads. Ciara O'Sullivan trying to make inroads there before she was stopped by Karen Kennedy. It comes out as far as Arena Friday. And then there's a gap between the inside forward line and the rest of the team. And they'll be hoping to maybe exploit that space. Iona Heffernan back there defending, helped out there by Clodagh Carroll. Bit of a loose pull there by Clodagh McIntyre of Tipperary. And the end result is going to be a free out to Waterford.
Yeah, great work at the backs there by Waterford. And Clodagh Carroll and Kate Lynch working well together to get the ball out.
And it was Clodagh Carroll who took that long-range free. Mary Ryan, 17 years at this level. The fullback, now fullback for Tipperary, has played elsewhere, of course, as well. Mairead Evanston now, the wing-back, going forward. Slipping it down along the line here, looking to try and retain possession is Coit Devan. They'll expect a huge performance from Devan, one of their big stars. Hitting it from near the sideline, close, but not quite close enough. And first wide.
And what skill Coit Devan showed to pick up that ball on the far sideline and shrug off her player, but I think it's been called back for a free in. She was given the advantage to take the shot. It didn't go over the bar, so the referee said, let's bring it back.
Well, it was a good advantage to allow Devan to have that free shot, as it were. So now this free, she's on the 45-metre line. We can see how near she is to the sideline. So from there to the post, you could say 50 metres, I think. Now, can she make it? That one is going to get a white flag, and it's her first point of the match. Good work by Coit Devan. 4 points to 2, Tipperary leading.
Absolute excellent score by Coit Devan, and a prolific free taker. And, you know, those are the frees that Coit Devan, a put over the bar. Had the shot just before it, was called back and got the second opportunity to hit it from the same spot, and a great finish by Quater.
Bill Mullaney, the manager, seeking a 4th consecutive semi-final spot. Concerned about his fullback Mary Ryan from Moneygall. Well, she's back and she's okay. Feeling the left leg, but play is going to resume anyway with a puck out for Waterford, and it'll be Brianna O'Regan from the De La Salle club who's going to take this one. Sun into the eyes of backs and forwards, but it's beautifully into the hands of Shona Curran, a very experienced player. Shona right up to the 20-metre line, still going. Shona Curran for Waterford. Tipperary players converging upon her. She's on the ground. They got the ball away. No whistle. But there's problems here for the defence because it's Vicky Falconer. Falconer still there trying to get that ball up onto the stick. She's lost her own stick. Helped out here by Abby Flynn, turning, looking at the post and smartly putting it over the crossbar. A point by Abby Flynn after that brilliant run by Shona Curran.
Absolutely brilliant collect by Shona Curran from the puck out. Took it straight down the middle. It opened up for her, and a great effort by her. Probably could have been a free in, but recycled back out, and a great score by Abby Flynn.
I think a lot of Waterford fans would agree with you. There probably was a free in. Here's Orla O'Dwyer. Apart from being a member of Cashel Kincormac, she has of course been member of the Brisbane Lions as well. Clodagh McIntyre, very athletic kind of player, good player, scored a goal in her last match which she came on as a sub against Wexford. That ball still in play. Roisin Howard recycling it, playing it back in there towards Devan, can't get to it, picked up instead by Iona Heffernan, out to the wings and away out of trouble by Lorraine Bray. To Sarah Lacey, starting from a deep position inside her own 65, taking off now, looking up and seeing what the inside forwards are doing and where they're moving. Collected beautifully by Mary Ryan, the fullback for Tipperary, gets it out, retained here smartly. Emer Lockman hitting it forward. There's a player back there in support at all times, and it's Orla Hickey in the sweeping position back there, collecting, gathering, moving it out. Lorraine Bray as far as Shona Curran once again, and the 31-year-old was fouled. She was ready to play it downfield as far as Anne Corcoran. The referee blew her whistle. No advantage, but they do get the free.
Yeah, and you could see huge leadership by Shona Curran, probably their oldest player, and by definitely leading the pack here in the absence of Beth Carton.
Well, she's just over 30, but she's got a lot of experience and a very, very good player. She's been saying during the week in interviews, it's time for Waterford to step up to that next level, to get through the glass ceiling and to try and get to the semi-finals. This is their chance. That went off the full forward, I think, Anne Corcoran. It's gone for a 45. I must say, I thought Corcoran was the one who touched it last, maybe not. Waterford happy to take the 45. Let's see, has this one dropped down there again? Who got the final touch? Well, the full forward was up there trying to win it, but she's saying it hit Mary Ryan last. And the umpire concurs. Niamh Rockett ready to take this. She's pointed one free already. This to try and level it up from the 45. And it's Tipperary 4 points, it's Waterford 4 points, and they're level for the second time.
A great score by Niamh Rockett, taking up the services from Beth Carton, and another good score by Niamh Rockett with the wind in her back.
From the puck out for Tipperary, it comes out as far as Aoife McGrath, joint captain, along with Coit Devan. Down along it comes. Swung forward by Emer Lockman. One back again, however. This time the Waterford defence standing firm, getting it out. Ciara O'Sullivan helping it away. Down towards Vicky Falconer. Having a little battle over there with Julianne Burke, the cornerback for Tipperary. And it's Waterford again, and it's Niamh Rockett once more off her left-hand side. Beautifully over. She's got 3. And Waterford lead here by 5 points to 4.
Yeah, what a great score by Niamh Rockett. Could see the ruck developing and drifted along the outside, and the ball broke out to her, and a great score off her left over the bar.
So far, so good. Two evenly matched teams. Caoimhe Burke in goal for Tipperary, pucking it out. Batted back down that time by Kersley Corbett-Barry. Lorraine Bray now, down into the corner it comes. That's Anne Corcoran trying to set up the scoring opportunity inside here for Ciara O'Sullivan, who's already got 1 point in this match, helped out by Abby Flynn, who's also scored. This time it's going to be under hit, however, easily taken in by Caoimhe Burke, the drum and inch player, one of 4 drum and inch players, the county champions, who are starting this match. That ball collected by Clodagh Carroll. Surrounded by Tipperary players, takes too much time over it, held on too long. She was thinking of her next move. Yeah,
a bit of indecision there. Probably should have let the ball into Abby Flynn, who had made herself available in front of her, but took a little bit of time to make her decision. And Liz Dempsey, I think, was correct calling it for overcarrying.
This time there's a problem for Lorraine Bray. And if you've joined us late, Waterford were unable to start Beth Carton, their 23-year-old from De La Salle, who had been scoring very, very freely in the championship in recent years. Team management, Derek Lyons there, John Burns, Catherine O'Donnell there as well, making up the backroom team. Limping back in is Lorraine Bray. Good start to the match. Free to Tipperary. It'll be Aoife McGrath once again. She's a cousin, by the way, of Noel and John and Brian McGrath from the Tipperary hurling team. And the two McGraths, Aoife and Emer, on the Camøige team, both sisters. This is the older of the two. That's won again there by Waterford and by Clodagh Carroll. Picking it up here is Keely Corbett-Barry. And Keely gets it away down, very near the sideline, struggling to keep it in play over there, but won well by Anne Corcoran initially, before losing it to Aoife McGrath, slipping the little hand pass forward as far as Nicole Walsh. Coming out to try and take it, Coit Devan scored from a free earlier on. Lovely hand pass from her. Back as far as Nicole Walsh, challenged over there by Abby Flynn. Very tight, very controlled. Devan has it again here, and in support of her was Karen Kennedy, and Kennedy hits that one into the goalkeeper's hands, and Brianna O'Regan is able to get it away downfield again. Tip have the numbers there, they have the ball as well, and it's collected by Moriad Everston. Looking to try and link up with Julianne Burke, intercepted instead by Sarah Lacey. Lacey plays it forward, it's going to run kindly here for Anne Corcoran. Corcoran advances, challenge coming in, and Tipperary win it back once again. It's Aoife McGrath who's got it. That was a very good covering defence there by McGrath and Mary Ryan to make sure that Anne Corcoran didn't do any more damage. This time it's Coit Devan, fouled by Shona Curran. And it's going to be a free in. In fact, it was Roisin Howard who was upended. This was that challenge. That was that shoulder there by Mary Ryan, preventing a near certain score for Waterford.
Yeah, a huge opportunity for Waterford there. Anne Corcoran found herself bearing down on goal, and a great cover back by the tip backs there to cover across and cut out that play. But a great ball in. Waterford seemed to be playing a player back and using the ball very efficiently moving forward.
Bill Mullaney there with his selectors near him, Mary Howard, Dennis Kelly and Dinny Firmcombe. The water break has been called, so 5 points to 4. Waterford are leading at this stage. Tipperary the favourites. Let's get a word from one of our panellists there and see what she's made of it so far. Anna Geary. Anna, what do you think?
Thanks, Stuart. Yeah, it's definitely had everything we had hoped, and I think really, like, you'd have to give full credit to Waterford. Their entire half-forward line is scored, and to me, Tipperary's launch pad is their half-back line. They've certainly been giving them questions and putting a little bit of doubt into that Tip half-back line. We hoped that Waterford would push up in that Tipperary attack, and they've done so. And Tipperary have had to fight for every score. The one thing I will note, though, is Orla O'Dwyer and Arena Friday have both scored. Both of those girls were unavailable for Tipperary this time last year. And another thing to note for Tipperary, Mary Ryan at full-back does seem to be under a little bit of pressure. She got a bit of work done on her back beforehand. She seems to be going down a little bit, and then she came across to cover off that potential Waterford threat, and she's gone down a bit now, so hopefully that isn't an injury for her. We'll have to wait and see. But again, Waterford are doing everything that they need to do to put pressure on Tipperary, and it's going to make it for an interesting second quarter.
Certainly will. Thank you very much indeed, Anna. Right, the coach is still having a word with their teams. There was a free awarded by the referee just before they went to the water break, so it's going to be interesting what happens next here, because I see Quater is standing near the sliotar, so I'm sure she fancies it. Watching on there, the injured player, Beth Carton, who cannot participate in today's match because of what I think is a hamstring injury that, as I mentioned at the beginning, affected her just before the Cork game, which was 3 weeks ago, the final one of the group matches, and she's a big loss. So, Kate, we've got a free coming up here for Tipperary. They're a point behind, but Waterford have what is a very significant breeze behind them for the opening 30 minutes.
Yeah, hugely significant breeze, and you'd be expecting them to make more use of it out around the middle, but probably haven't had that opportunity yet, Ger. But the next 15 minutes will be crucial for them to get a 2 or 3 point lead.
Coit Devan has levelled it with that resultant free, and so the teams are level for the 3rd time, and she's got 2 pointed frees. They've both been very long frees. One was way out near the far sideline, one there, as you saw a moment ago. So 5 apiece. The clock stopped, and it's on again, 60 minutes into the match. Tipperary winning their possession in the middle of the park there with Arena Friday initially, and then Mary Ryan, the player that Anna Geary was talking about a little moment ago there, whether or not there's an injury affecting her. Kate Lynch hand passes it, intended for Lorraine Bray. She won't thank her for that, because just as that ball went loose, a foul comes in, and there's a free for the foul on Roisin Howard, and another free in for Tipperary, and a chance for them to go back into the lead again.
Yeah, and I'm sure Quater will make no mistake on this free and put Tip back in the lead. But a simple mistake by Kate Lynch gave Roisin Howard the opportunity to push on and make a huge opening for Tip, and off the back of that now they're facing a free for Quater.
You just can't make mistakes at this level of competition. There was no card issued to Lorraine Bray, by the way. Referee did a little note, but no card that I could see. And Quater has stepped up, and that's 2 in a row and 3 in all for her. And Tipperary back in front again by 6 points to 5 in what is the All-Ireland quarter-final. 5 teams left in the hunt for the Sean O'Duffy Cup for 2021. And the semi-final draw, of course, will be made at the end of this match. The 2 semi-finals happening in Croke Park next weekend on Sunday, both of them live on this channel. Lots of good Camøige to look forward to. But who'll be there? Right now it's Abby Flynn for Waterford, and they'd love to book their ticket, and she's done enough there to get a referee's whistle in her favour, and it's going to be a free for Waterford.
Great bit of work there by Abby Flynn, an Irish international basketball player, and she's hugely industrious player, willing to work, and got a great free for herself there. So a very similar free for Niamh Rocket to the first free she took today, so we'll be expecting this to be a point.
3 for Rocket so far, and that one, does it get inside the right-hand upright? Not quite. So it's just a first wide of the match by Waterford, but they're still behind. Puck out by Caoimhe Burke for Tipperary, out as far as Maureen Everston from Drummond Inch. Up along the line towards Orla O'Dwyer. Her hurley was being held, I thought, there, and the referee does give a whistle, and it's going to be a free for Tipperary for the foul on Orla O'Dwyer, who won a premiership with the Brisbane Lions in the springtime this year, the AFLW. They beat Adelaide Crows in the final, and she was a starring player.
Yeah, she definitely made her mark down in the AFL this year, and you can see her athleticism there. She got the ball on the run, got her a few yards ahead, and won herself a free. So another opportunity to Quater to push Tipperary another point ahead.
And she'll be hoping to avail of it, and I think she's done it. That's 4 for Quater. All of them long-range frees, and now there are 2 between them.
Excellent free taken by Quater. At this point, all her frees have been out near the sideline, into the breeze, and excellent free taken by Quater.
Up to Waterford now to take the game by the scruff of the neck again. Clodagh Carroll down into space here. It's a difficult one for the Waterford player to take, Vicky Falconer. She's claiming that it should be a Waterford ball, that it went off the Tipperary player, but the the linesman has a different point of view. Ready to take this one is Aoife McGrath. Got a very good connection on it as well. Nicely into the hands of Clodagh McIntyre. Look at her go. Such an athletic player. Wonderful Camøige star. Here she goes. Made a lot of ground. Delivering the pass there. This is Roisin Howard. Howard advancing, and that's gone over the bar. Great score by Tipperary. Roisin Howard gets it, but you have to credit Clodagh McIntyre's fantastic run.
Yeah, what a run by Clodagh McIntyre up the wing, and a passing to Roisin Howard. Probably could have went for goal, but a great finish by her for a point. And you'd have to say the Tip half backline or the Waterford half backline are struggling a little bit at the minute with Clodagh McIntyre and Oliver Dwyer out there, and Roisin Howard. They're really giving Waterford a bit to work on.
Well, is this the moment of the game now when Tipperary will open a very, very sizable gap between the sides? We'll have to hope from a neutral's point of view that Waterford are able to match them and go stride for stride. Last year, it took a goal in the 42nd minute to pretty much determine how the match was going to finish. It's interesting that since the water break, Tipperary have scored 4 points and Waterford haven't scored at all.
Yeah, they definitely, since they've come back out after the water break, they've took on this game a lot stronger. And as you say, 4 points for Tip at this point. Waterford really need to up their game and get a little bit behind them with the strong breeze in their back.
Tip made a number of changes from their last assignment, which was a victory over Wexford. And those changes look to be working pretty well. Clodagh McIntyre, for instance, coming in from the start this time. Well, that's good to see Iona Heffernan from Ferrybank back on her feet again. Team manager Derek Lyons looking on, trying to shade his eyes from the dipping sunlight here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. When they met last November, the floodlights were on by now. It's so good that the Camøige Championship is back being played during summertime.
And I believe that evening was probably more of a wet and windy evening, Ger, with the sun in their eyes this evening. It's definitely a miles apart in their last meeting.
Sure. That's Niamh Rockett playing that ball forward, but once again it is Arena Friday, mopping it up, collecting, looking up, driving it forward. Chance for the forwards now to try and make some headway. Emer McGrath now trying to get more into the game. We haven't seen much of her so far. Been challenged there by Kate Lynch. Held back, I thought. Still managed to get her shot away. And that shot has gone to the wrong side of the post, but it'll be brought back. And Emer and Tipperary will have a free.
Yeah, another opportunity for Quater to get a point on the board. But you would have to say that Waterford's half-back line and backs are struggling with the intent of the forwards here. That's a huge attack by Emer McGrath. It was Clodagh McIntyre before that and Roisin Howard. So Waterford need to up the tempo in the back to keep this Tip forward line at bay.
Quater 4 points already. When they met in the league in May, she scored 12 points, so she's well on her way. Breeze into her face. Looking to judge it, to get it inside the right-hand upright. It hasn't quite worked out for her this time. Just the first wide of the match by Tipperary. They lead by 8 points to 5, as you can see. And we're about 7 minutes from the half-time whistle. Niamh Rockett playing it back to Clodagh Carroll from Galtier. As far as Lorraine Bray, who comes from Cappoquin. Big one down, intended there for Vicky Falconer. And Vicky Falconer is after making some useful possession here and drives it over the bar. That's a very good score by Vicky Falconer. They hadn't scored since the 12th minute, so they've gone 12 minutes without a score. But Vicky Falconer, the 27-year-old from Tramore, comes up trumps here. Exactly what Waterford required.
Yeah, great score by Vicky. Vicky's always been known as her tenacious play, and you could see that in her score there. She won the ball and got it over the bar. A score that Waterford badly needed.
Sarah Lacey's pass was just a little too strong for Ciara O'Sullivan to take, and in the end Tipperary are able to drive it forward, but not to the player it was intended for initially. But Clodagh McIntyre's trying to make something of it. Orla Hickey, the sweeper back there, goes down. Referee saw a push, and it'll be a free out for Waterford.
A great recovery by Orla Hickey there. She went to poke the ball out to her colleague just outside of her, and it was blocked. And a great recovery by Orla Hickey to get her free back.
2 points the margin. Brianna O'Regan, 23-year-old from De La Salle, hitting it up into the air. One back, however, by Orla O'Dwyer for Tipperary. This ball collected here and won by Kate Lynch. Lynch beating the attempted block, getting it downfield, down towards Anne Corcoran. Corcoran in there challenging, looking to try and win this ball against Aoife McGrath. Both sides claiming it should be theirs, and the linesman has said it's got to be a tip ball. Aoife McGrath taking her time over this one. Tip looking to try and retain it. Arena Friday just out over the sideline again, so it'll be Waterford's turn. Arena Friday, who plays for Knock Avila Kickham's in County Tipperary, and that of course is Fergal Horgan's club, and Fergal will be the man in the middle tomorrow in Croke Park in the All-Ireland hurling final. Limerick against Cork, and our build-up beginning at 2 o'clock RTE tomorrow. Well, the referee's earpiece has been reconnected. Line ball taken by Shona Curran. Driving forward here is Keely Corbett-Barry. Curran taking it from her. That'll be cut out here by the very industrious Roisin Howard. She works so hard over the head of Orla O'Dwyer, looking to try and win it back. Falls kindly here for Nicole Walsh, able to set it on its way, have a go herself, and put it wide in the end. That's a second wide by Tipperary, a first by Nicole Walsh. Quick puck out to as far as Orla Hickey for Waterford. They're 2 behind, hoping to use the breeze productively now in the last couple of minutes of this first half. Sarah Lacey gets it outside as far as Niamh Rocket. Rocket runs into a number of Tipperary players, plays it ahead of herself. Karen Kennedy beats her to it, and Kennedy then is challenged, goes down with a head injury. It's Abby Flynn who gets the ball forward. Flynn taking it away from a number of would-be challenges and putting it over. Her second point of the match. It's a 1-point game. It's 8 points to 7. And concern for Karen Kennedy, who was injured in the build-up to that. So she's been treated as we watch this again. And Abby Flynn's got her second. Yeah. Great work by the 19-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely great work by Abby Flynn. Saw the challenge go in, the ball broke out, and she took it down the middle and over the bar. And probably a couple of opportunities there for her to pass it right or left and go for the goal. But nonetheless, a point for Waterford at this stage is a good score.
Well, this is what happened here again. You could see there Karen Kennedy feeling her head immediately. A 50-50 challenge, both sides, both players going for it. A very honest attempt to win possession. Certainly no foul involved. And in the end, it was Abby Flynn who just stood her ground, won it, and took her score. Good work for a player who's a student at DCU, but concern right now for Karen Kennedy of Thurles Sarsfields. Bill Mullaney looking on. Medics out immediately to apply some ice, and I think she'll be back up on her feet, ready to continue. She's a vital part of this Tipperary defence. A very good half-back line alongside Maureen Everston and Aoife McGrath.
And a huge player for Tipperary. She was last year. She was picked as an all-star centre-back and had a great year last year, and has been the foundation of this team, along with Quater, building on and their strength in the championship.
29 minutes are gone. Tipperary holding on to a 1-point lead. Orla O'Dwyer. I guess if you're a Waterford player, Kate, you come into this match in the quarter-final having been beaten last year by Tipperary, beaten in the league this year, and you're probably sick of the thought of losing to them again. And that is driving this Waterford team on right from the very start in this match.
Yeah, definitely. But they've turned it around, and they've put in a good championship stint since. Like, they turned over Dublin in the championship since they were beating them in the relegation final of the league. So they've been building on their confidence since then.
Vicky Falconer again hitting this one, but that time the wrong side of the upright. We're about to go into 3 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half, which has been very, very competitive. Lots of good stuff, some great scores, great individual displays. Aoife McGrath turning away from Anne Corcoran that time, belting it forward and then reading it so well as Shona Curran takes possession, closed down. You're not going to get very much room in an All-Ireland quarter-final, that's for sure. Stakes are high. Mairead Evanston collected here by Nicole Walsh, again driving it forward. That's the second one she's sent wide in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Stays at 8-7. Another 2.5 minutes to go. Brianna O'Regan, player who saved a penalty in her last match, which was against, or in the first match rather, against Down in this year's championship. Whistle sounds, Waterford player down. Can't quite make out from there just who it is.
Probably the clash under the tackle from the puck out. But you would have to say, Ger, for this Waterford team, you know, they had five competitive losses prior to the game against Dublin in the league, and with a new manager in, he was only getting to know the players. Compare that to Tipperary, they've had Bill Malani in, who's been building this team for the last 3 to 4 years. So you would have to say, championship, they lost Beth Carton before the Cork match and put in a good display against Cork as well. So Waterford definitely, they're building on this. They've 6 players around the 20 age mark, and a young team and putting in a good effort. So you would have to say their confidence is definitely up, and you can see it in their game today. They're definitely up for a fight and hoping to overturn Tip in this game.
Well, they have every opportunity. It's 8-7, but Abby Flynn, as you can see, is being attended to. A young teenager. You mentioned her basketball. And Waterford, of course, has always been a great centre for basketball. Back along the years, the Waterford Wildcats were one of the top teams in the Basketball League, regularly appeared on TV playing at cup weekends.
And Ger, she was also one of the key players when Ursuline won the Senior Schools Champions and Player of the Year in 2019 in WLR. So she's a huge athlete in Waterford in all sports, and has that ability to you know, could kind of star in the sports that she plays. So it's brilliant to see her togged out for the Waterford Camøige team this year and putting in such strong displays.
Referee Liz Dempsey just making sure that Abby is okay to continue. She'll want to stay on. It's a Waterford team, of course, that was relegated from Division 1 of the league, so they want to make amends and atone for that and make progress during this championship up against a very good, solid Tipperary team. Waterford have it back. That's Keely Corbett-Barry driving it long down into the corner towards Vicky Falconer, where she goes. Emer Lockman goes out there to try and negate her progress. That's not easy. That's a good block down, however. They're working very hard, and it's Karen Kennedy in the thick of it there for Tipperary. Well, there'll be another bit of extra time added, I imagine, by the referee because of the injury to Abby Flynn a few moments ago. So another little bit to go. Aoife McGrath standing over this free on her own 13-metre line. Coming out towards it is Orla O'Dwyer, not able to take it. Clara Griffin playing it forward to Anne Corcoran. Corcoran, who's provided Waterford with a decent presence up front, and she wins good possession here. It'll overhit that pass to Niamh Rockett. Didn't quite go her way. And it's Mairead Evanston who gets it across here. Across as far as Grace O'Brien, a very industrious midfield player. Roisin Howard going forward, and the referee decides that's enough time. You've had your 30 minutes of action, and we've had lots of fun watching it as well. The teams sharing 15 points in all during that first half. Niamh Rockett getting 3, Coit Devan pointing 4 frees expertly. and little to choose between the teams at half-time. The teams have been level 3 times in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, and at the break, it's Tipperary 8 points, it's Waterford 7. Ivan and the panel will be back right after this.
Well, it's half-time here at Páirc Uí Chaoimh in Cork, and the scoreline reads Tipperary 8 points, Waterford 7 points. A very tight game, and it's really been tight right the way through. As Ger Canning said earlier, they have been level on a number of occasions. Anna Geary, you spoke before this game about Tipperary's running game, and they brought it today.
They absolutely did, and right from the word go, you could see that they were trying to create movement. Clodagh McIntyre had a lot to do here where she picked up the ball, but look at the pace. It's a blistering run, and like, she knew that she was ultimately going to be challenged, but she popped a brilliant ball off to Roisin Howard, but she gets right back up again, if you see on screen, just in case Roisin needed that support player. It's the physicality that they bring, that fitness, that conditioning that they have. Look at her pace. I mean, I wish I had that pace when I was playing.
It's also very professional as well. You know, like, she obviously got, anybody will go down with that challenge, straight back up again. Straight back up again,
because again, she was focused on the job at hand. That was to make sure that if she needed to be a support player for Roisin, that she was back up again. But it just shows the fitness levels, the conditioning that Tipperary have. And again, that running play, they're always looking to pop the ball off. Much like Kilkenny in the first game, that's what they're doing now.
It's a 1 point game. Waterford are trailing, but they had a goal chance. And I don't know, we look at it now, could have been a penalty.
Yeah, they've had some strong running up front, you know, and they've been really good at getting scores. They've nearly been doing a tip to what we would expect Tip to be doing to them, but massive run from Shauna Curran in the middle of the field, and she's had a huge game for Waterford so far. probably ran out of a little bit of road in the end. I think was out of catches, saw the Tip players coming to her, probably went down a little bit easy and didn't get the penalty or the free maybe that she was looking for. But credit to Waterford, it could have been an opportunity lost, but it wasn't. They recycled the ball again, eventually pop it back out to Abby Flynn, who's had a massive first half for them and a super score from her. So they didn't get the goal opportunity, they didn't get the goal from it, but they did get the point opportunity. And Waterford have set up really, really well. Orla Hickey is back here at centre back, and she's a spare player for them the whole time. She's protecting that goal and she's covering off Quater at all times back there.
They didn't score for 12 minutes though. That point by Vicky Faulkner towards the end was crucial because it kind of got them back up and running again. They're missing Beth Carton, but the likes of Vicky and Abby Flynn as well stepping up.
Even Niamh Rocket from the first free she got, you know, someone taking over the free taking duties. Obviously she takes them from her club, so you know it's not a massive change for her for free taking, but that first one, difficult enough one to judge with the wind and everything here today. She sloshes over and she's been unerring from them. So you know, we spoke about the, I suppose, over reliance on Beth over the years, but there is leaders standing up all over the field for today for Waterford, and that's why they're still in this game.
Yeah, like Vicky Faulkner came into this with 2-2. She got 2 goals against Cork. I mean, anytime you score a goal against Cork, you're going to earn it. So to me, they should isolate her a bit more up front and actually pump the ball down to her and see, because if the likes of Mary Ryan is carrying a little bit of an injury, it'll put her under pressure.
OK, well, 30 minutes remain to determine whether it'll be Tipperary or Waterford completing the All-Ireland semi-final lineup. We'll be back after this short break for the second half. So a tight game, 8 points to 7 here at half-time between Tipperary and Waterford, the Premier County, ahead by just 1 score. But it's difficult, Hannah, to get a handle on this game. It's very stop-start, and I don't think either team have really found a rhythm yet.
Yeah, because if you can't build a bit of momentum, then it is very hard to start, cracking on those few scores. And for Tipperary, they came into this game at 9:54, and even though I feel like they've had more possession, it hasn't shown on the scoreboard. So that is credit to Waterford and all the work that they've been doing. They started to really push up in Tipperary. And there's about 5 or 10 minutes where Tipperary got those few scores. But Waterford have seemed to get to grips with the game again. And going in down a point at half-time, I'm sure they're going to be very happy with that.
We saw the score that Vicky Faulkner got. And Niamh Rocket did a lot of the work, actually, to feed the ball in. And she's doing that out around the middle here. She's also having to take the frees now because Beth Carton is out injured. She's doing a lot. Where would you put her in the second half?
Yeah, look, it's important that they get her on the ball, but they get her on the ball in position that's advantageous for Waterford, and that's on the scoreboard. So you need to be getting the scores. But look, at the other side of it is, if she's feeding enough ball in, if Vicky Faulkner and the girls inside are being fouled for it, well, then she's going to convert the frees. So look, they're doing well inside. You know, I would have said coming into this game that Tipperary had a very established, very composed set of 6 backs, and they don't look established and they don't look composed there today. Waterford are actually the team that look far more composed on the ball and better set up at the back.
Is it fair to say we need to see a step up in intensity if either of these teams are going to challenge next weekend?
Definitely, and I think that we need to start seeing real goal scoring opportunities really coming. Apart from that Roisin Howard one, to me there wasn't really that many, apart from the one that Waterford had, which I personally think could have been a penalty, but anyway.
Betraying the backs like that, Annie.
OK, well, let's rejoin our commentary team of Jerry Canning and Kate Kelly for the second half of this final quarter-final between Tipperary and Waterford.
Thank you very much, Yvonne. Yeah, Waterford are back out. Having a quick look around. Kate Kelly is with me, and we're having a look to see are there any changes. I don't see any, Kate. It's interesting where Tipperary's concerned. Their last score was in the 20th minute, and it was a point by Roisin Howard. So to go 10 minutes plus stoppage time without scoring, what does that tell us about Tipperary and the problems maybe they're experiencing tonight?
Yeah, like the girls alluded to there, I think it's a very stop-start game, and I don't think they've found a rhythm or flow in this. They'll be disappointed they haven't got another score in the last 10 minutes of this game, and I think we'll see a more focused and Tip team in this half. You would think they will come out all guns blazing now with the wind in their back, but then, as they say, the wind never won a game for anyone.
Exactly. Well, Tipperary are unbeaten this year in the championship. This is game 4 for them. Liz Dempsey from Kilkenny is our referee, ready to restart. Sun has gone behind some clouds. It's got a little bit gloomy. The wind is beginning to pick up again, and it favours Tipperary for this third quarter. There's Shona Curran, made an impact during that first half. The pass was a little slack. Orla O'Dwyer able to nip in, and she'll see if the breeze can carry this one. Well, it carries it all right, but it carries it to the left of the upright. Quick puck out, nicely into the hands here of Lorraine Bray. Won her first All-Star last year, and there she was challenging Emer McGrath, who's feeling her shoulder. Emer is just 19 years of age. Line ball coming up to Waterford. Standing over it here is Lorraine Bray once again. In towards Vicky Faulkner. One back, however, there by Emer Lockman showed good composure, good assurance. Mention of composure and assurance, well, those are the ingredients you expect when you watch Mary Ryan play at full-back. Very steady player. That's a slap down there, which is going to be penalised. And Corcoran can plead her case, but I think the foul was committed and the free is definitely going to be against her. Catching Maureen Evanston there.
Yeah, and it seems to be she was caught right on the hand where she's very heavily strapped, so you can see probably maybe a little bit of discomfort.
So the free has been taken. Clodagh Carroll trying to cut it out here by Waterford, and then she was upended. Emer McGrath just a little bit too enthusiastic coming into challenge. Free to Waterford, both sides trying to get back into a rhythm. Start of the second half. Sarah Lacey playing it back towards Lorraine Bray. They come looking for the first score of the second half. That ball hit out there towards Anne Corcoran. Back to Clara Griffin. That is under hit, however. And it's Emer Lockman who gets the ball out just far enough. Under pressure, however, from Sarah Lacey. Lacey lobs it up and puts it over the bar. And the teams are level. Start of the second half. A first point by the WIT student, Sarah Lacey. Nicely done, 8 points apiece.
Yeah, great score by Sarah Lacey, back over her left shoulder. A huge score, missed one in the first half, but that will settle her definitely in the second half. 19 years of age, what a nice score for Sarah.
And they're level for the 4th time in this match. Once again, there is a problem here, and it is the arm of Mary Ryan from Moneygall which is causing the problem. Mary, who was first called into the Tipperary panel back in 2005, at a time when Tipperary had won 5 of the previous 6 All-Ireland finals. So in the dressing room, she had players on the seats alongside her who were laden with All-Ireland medals. Bill Mullaney giving the side continuity and trying to continue to build. Derek Lyons hoping that this may be the year when they will finally break through the quarter-final stage and get into the draw at the end of this match for the semi-final pairings. Semi-finals next Sunday. I mentioned earlier, it's live on TV, Croke Park, next Sunday afternoon. And that should be well worth seeing. So the attention still being given to Mary Ryan. She's able to continue. Caoimhe Burke hitting it out. Emer Lockman wearing 4, but playing on the right-hand side of the defence. Down towards Emer McGrath. Bounced off her hand in towards Roisin Howard. 2 points in the first half for Howard. That's Clodagh McIntyre going in chasing after that one, like Coit Devan. Rolled up onto the stick of Iona Heffernan, however. Heffernan gets away from the would-be blocks, but the clearance is a little wayward. Nicole Walsh was trying to get onto it quickly there. Ciara O'Sullivan back helping. In there to challenge, and there was a stick foul, and the referee indicting Clodagh McIntyre, who has a look of disbelief on her face. Well, the referee indicating that it was a slap down onto the stick, and she's penalised accordingly. Well, it's Tipperary who have the free at the end of it all. Coit Devan is ready to take it. I think Waterford thought they were going to get the free out. And that one is expertly delivered once again by Coit Devan. Another white flag for her, first of the second half, and Tipperary Steel back in front again.
Yeah, great score by Coit Devan. She makes no mistakes on those frees, and you could see I suppose the dispute there before. She had pointed for the free for Waterford, and the Tip players were infuriated by that, and Liz recognised her mistake and changed the decision.
Well, it's all come right in the end anyway, and Tipperary now back defending. Referee saw a foul there as Arena Friday was picking that one up. It was Anne Corcoran who was in the thick of it. So let's just watch this again here. Free into Waterford at the end. Anne Corcoran grounded. Mary Ryan, her marker. And the free taker is going to be Niamh Rockett, the captain of the team. 3 points already scored by the secondary school teacher who plays for St. Anne's. From 45 metres out, she drives it unerringly between the uprights. Her first of the second half, 4th in all. And so 9 points apiece and level for the 5th time.
Yeah, great score by Niamh Rockett. Good ball in, worked her free. Anne Corcoran did very well there on Mary Ryan out in front, got the free, and now the scores are level again.
Well, I'm not sure that Mary Ryan is going to be able to continue here. It's an elbow problem that is clearly causing her a lot of distress. And we're just looking to see where any substitute will appear. And the number 25, I think, is the player is going to come in. She's got off, and it'll be Kareem Black who'll come on. A blood sub, we're told. Kareem Blair is the player who's come on anyway. Emer Lockman, meanwhile, gets that ball back downfield. Maureen Evanston has got into the full-back position, by the way, in place of Mary Ryan. Waterford have won the ball back through Abby Flynn, helped out by Lorraine Bray, sweeping it across the field towards Vicky Falconer, hitting it forward into space, but there's nobody there in a Waterford shirt, but it's cleverly done by Maureen Evanston. Back there, sweeping, covering, clearing with accuracy. Retained here by Irina Friday, and Friday sweeps it away off her left-hand side, down there over the head of Grace O'Brien. Waterford having to deal with this. Orla Hickey, helped out by Clodagh Carroll, shrugs aside the first challenge of the Tipperary player. Now having to improvise somewhat. Tip have it back, however, and it's Emer McGrath, hasn't scored in the match so far. Played in smartly, and that ball is hit there by Clodagh McIntyre, and she's got a white flag, and a very good score by Clodagh McIntyre from Laura Dura.
Yeah, great score by Clodagh McIntyre. Tipperary find it a bit difficult to break down that Waterford defence with Orla Hickey sitting back in the hole, but a great score by Clodagh McIntyre.
Both sides employing sweepers, making it difficult for the forwards to make their way through. Here comes McIntyre again now. That ball was overhit, intended for Orla O'Dwyer, but Tipperary are going to get it back. How about that for a shot by Emer McGrath? That is a fantastic point. I said she hadn't scored so far. She has now, and she's made it 11 points to 9. Didn't take the ball into her hand. That was one of the best points of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. First touch straight out onto the hurl and popped it up and over the bar. What a great score by Emer McGrath. Obviously had the goal in her sights, in her mind, and what a great score by Emer McGrath.
Well, hurling and camogie playing is in the McGrath bloodline, most definitely. The cousins on the hurling team and the McGraths here enjoying that one. Even the referee is able to say what a good score that was. More problems and another injury for a Waterford player, and concern on the face of Derek Lyons, looking to make the big breakthrough, but he's happy that his cornerback Kate Lynch from Galtier is able to continue. Now they need to try and claw back that Tipperary lead quickly. We're nearly 10 minutes into the second half. Well, the whistle sounds again. And there's going to be a change, and that's why, because number 17 for Tipperary, Miriam Campion, is coming in. So this is another McGrath away. She's a cousin of the McGraths, and she's replacing Grace O'Brien. So two changes made by Tipperary. One of them still a blood sub, we understand, the injury to Mary Ryan, replaced by Kareem Blair. Into the air it goes. Waterford trying to win it there through Ciara O'Sullivan. Stalemate. Roisin Howard inevitably emerging with it. Her work rate is immense. Arena Friday down into space. A job to do here for Iona Heffernan. And she's pushed in the back there by Miriam Campion. Free out to Waterford.
Yeah, great work by Iona Heffernan there. Drew the free, stepped over the ball, stopped up suddenly and got that push in the back. And a great way to get the ball out the back line. So great work by Iona Heffernan.
So it'll be a free for Waterford, which will be taken by Brianna O'Regan. Faced Tipperary in the championship last year as well. Breeze into her face, gets a good connection, travels a fair distance, and there to pick up the pieces is Roisin Howard again. Helped out by Arena Friday for Tipperary, down into space towards Miriam Campion. Gives the pass off here as far as Orla O'Dwyer, running there at Clara Griffin, strikes off his right-hand side, and it's a beauty.
That is
Orla O'Dwyer's second.
An absolute great score by Orla O'Dwyer. A swift pass off, and Orla O'Dwyer steps inside her player and pops it over the bar. A great score by Orla O'Dwyer, and that's Tip's 4th point in a row.
Very, very good step forward being made collectively by Tipperary. And now Shona Curran trying to lead this Waterford team back into the action again. Niamh Rockett trying to win it. Held off there well by Aoife McGrath. Her sister scored a lovely point a few moments ago. Rockett commits the foul. Tipperary have the free, taken quickly. And it's Orla O'Dwyer again, couldn't quite get it under control. Trying to get her feet and the stick and the coordination in order, and it didn't quite work out for her. Line ball to Waterford. Well, we're about another 2 to 3 minutes from the next of the water breaks, and Orla Hickey ready to hit this one. Ready to try and pick it up there was Keely Corbett Barry, the number 2. on her hands and knees is Clara Griffin from Waterford there, the number 8 in the middle of it all, and the referee Liz Dempsey is going to throw it in. Looking for a Tipperary player to report for duty alongside Shona Curran there. It'll be Roisin Howard on the left as we look at it. Shona Curran wins it, however, trying to remove everybody and anybody out of her way, including Roisin Howard, and Waterford end up with a free.
Yeah, an interesting decision there by Liz Dempsey.
Sure was.
Shona Curran was definitely moving forward, and I don't know if it was a free to her or against her.
Anyway, it's past history, and Waterford are looking to try and win it, and Abby Flynn has got it, taking it forward, 3 against her, feeds it forward as far as Falconer. Nikki Falconer under hits it, however, and it's easy for Caoimhe Burke to gather and to place it out as far as Roisin Howard. Good ball across here as far as Nicole Walsh, all alone, unmarked, hits it, but hits it poorly. It's a wasted opportunity. She could have carried that ball forward. She could have done a few things.
Absolutely. She definitely could have went into the 45-yard line. She did steady herself to get it, but her accuracy just let her down. But what a great ball across the field from Aoife McGrath.
From this puck out by Waterford, it's Tipperary who are poised to win it. Emer McGrath initially, and then from the middle of the field, that one goes sailing up into the air and over the bar as well. It's a lovely point by Irina Friday. She scored early on in the game. She's got one now, and it's now suddenly 13 points to 9.
Yeah, you can really see that Tipperary is starting to really open a gap in this game, and a step up from all their players. It's been 5 different scorers for the last 5 scores.
Keely Corbett-Barry plays it forward. Still a little bit more to play in this third quarter. One back by Aoife McGrath. Tipperary have opened that gap now. Can Waterford close it? They need to. Otherwise, they'll be heading out of the championship. There's a head injury. Keely Corbett-Barry went into a challenge, came off second best, and quite correctly, the referee, Liz Dempsey, is holding up the play so that attention can be given to the De La Salle player. And there's a water break as well, so they can attend to the injured player and take their break as well. But we've seen a significant burst forward now by Tipperary in this third quarter. As you can see, they're ahead by 4 points, by 13 points to 9. Let's get the view now of another one of our panellists today, Elaine Aylward. Elaine, what are you making of it?
Yeah, Ger, look, it's really nip and tuck again in that open 15 minutes of that second half. 2 teams that you can tell are really familiar with one another, and credit to Waterford, you know, they really nullified some of Tip's star players. You know, Karen Kennedy has been very busy with Niamh Rocket, and while Niamh Rocket maybe hasn't been getting the scores on the scoreboard, she has kept Karen Kennedy out of having that influential role that she normally does in that Tip defence. They've also now lost Mary Ryan from full back, so they've had to reshuffle the deck back there, but yet it seems to have kind of ignited something in them, and they've just started to maybe think about turning the screw a little bit with those last couple of scores. 3 really well worked scores, and as Kate said, they're getting different players involved and starting to flow a bit more like the Tip that we're used to seeing. But look, credit to Waterford, they're still asking a lot of questions of this Tip full back line. They're creating lots of opportunities up there, and you feel they've probably had the more chances for a goal, and they are threatening inside there. And maybe now with Mary Ryan gone off the edge of the square, there is an opportunity for someone like Niamh Rocket to pop up there and get a score. I feel this game probably needs a goal just to ignite one of the teams.
Thanks indeed, Elaine. We'll see whether or not there is a goal in the game. Bill Mullaney urging his team. In that third quarter, his side scored 5 points. Waterford scored twice, 2 points for them. Don't forget that the draw for the semi-finals will be made after this match. And we've already seen Kilkenny qualify today, an easy victory for them over Wexford. We're seeing advantage Tipperary at the moment against Waterford, and we know that Cork and Galway are also there. And Cork and Galway could meet one another. It's going to be an open draw. It's going to be well worth watching in about 20 minutes from now. So start of the fourth and final quarter. Advantage Tipperary. Again, another stalemate here. Niamh Rocket, the number 11 there on the left-hand side, hoping to pinch it and take it away, and the referee says nothing's happening, so she's going to throw the ball in. Shona Curran's on the right-hand side, ready to try and win it for Waterford. Abby Flynn waiting. Pinching it away, however, is Karen Kennedy, and Kennedy, the all-star, comes forward. Great work by her, a lovely diagonal ball in there towards Coit Devan, playing it back Nice shot up into the air, and it's gone over the bar. Super point. And that is another one by Emer McGrath. 2 for her. She suddenly got very hot.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic score. Unfortunately, there's what Karen Kennedy is capable of. First burst up the field and a crossfield ball and a point for Emer McGrath.
Back from Waterford and Vicky Falconer. Jersey pulled. Referee was allowing an advantage. The shot comes in. It'll be brought back and they will have their advantage. They'll have their shot. But they are 14 points to 9 behind. They need to make this count.
Yeah, they definitely need to put a couple of scores together at this stage and get themselves back into this game. They need 2 or 3 scores just to get into the hunt for this game in the closing minutes.
Nia Brockett has managed to score 4 times already in this game. 2 frees, 145, and a point from play as well. This has to go over. The floodlights are on in Páirc Uí Chaoimh, one of the finest grounds in the country, and that is a very fine point by Nia Brockett from the free. So it is back to a 4-point difference once again.
Yeah, there's a great score by Niamh Rockett, and she's really encouraging her players to get going at this point. 4-point game, 10-15 minutes to go. It's all to play for.
Aoife McGrath from the puck out. Karen Kennedy now. Late challenge on Karen Kennedy there. Tipperary hold on to possession. Orla O'Dwyer. Iona Heffernan now going back, trying to win this one. Keep it away there from substitute Miriam Campion. Helped out by Orla Hickey. Goalkeeper required, Brianna O'Regan, to lash it back down the field again. Taken calmly here by Irina Friday. Friday eyes up the target, fancies it, has a go. Might have taken another option. Stays at 14-10.
Yeah, possibly could have played it in, but Irina's had 2 long-range points already in this game and probably fancied her chances. She broke free and had an opportunity on her own.
Well, the referee now has been called across by, I think it's Justin Heffernan, the linesman. Something that he saw and is bringing to the referee's attention. So somebody's got to be in trouble. And it looks like it's Vicky Falconer. Look of resignation on Vicky's face. Yellow card. And that is the first of the match, I think. There you are, that was what was happening there. Foul on Karen Kennedy. Deserved a card. Nicole Walsh on the ground. Waterford players standing around her. In the end, it's Keely Corbett-Barry was trying to emerge and does emerge, and with determination and skill takes it forward. Driven back again. Kareem Blair trying to win it. On the ground there is Aoife McGrath. Suddenly got very physical.
Yeah, definitely, and you'd say maybe Liz's line of sight was probably blocked there. I would have thought it was a free for Tipperary. She was probably tripped.
Down went Aoife McGrath, lost her footing. Yeah, it was Shona Curran who was coming across. I think her thigh connected with Aoife McGrath. And a yellow card for Shona Curran. So 2 in a row now for Waterford players. You can't be serious, referee, I think, if I could read her gesture.
I think that's exactly what she said, Ger. She's not impressed she got that yellow card, and probably was a quick sidestep, to be fair, by Aoife McGrath, but nonetheless probably a sore one by Aoife and probably could end up in a dead leg, but we'll see if she's able to continue.
Well, the 2 McGraths certainly playing their part. We have another change coming up. Waterford's number 21, Fiona Morrissey, is coming on in place of Anne Corcoran. Came on in the last match as well, so getting her chance now here. Fiona, who plays for Galtier. So this is the resultant free after that yellow card. From the middle of the park, it's Coit Devan. Win behind her. 5 so far, all of them frees. Her team 4 up in the All-Ireland quarter-final of the Camøige Championship. She's got a 5th. She's got a 6th, rather, and they are 5 ahead.
Yeah, fantastic score by Quater from the middle of the field. Quater is, as I said earlier, a prolific free taker, and any opportunity she gets, 9 times out of 10, it'll be over the bar.
Well, in case you weren't with us at the beginning of the match, Waterford were unable to start Beth Carton, who was one of the game's, and is one of the game's most outstanding players. So the referee writing, and there's a yellow card again issued, this time to a Tipperary player. Tipperary's Niamh Tracy is on. That's Roisin Howard now, playing it back. Quater able to turn, pursued by Keely Corbett-Barry. Down into the corner, there's no hope for Miriam Campion to retain that one, just beat her for pace. We're into the last 8 minutes at Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
Yeah, and you'd have to say maybe Quater has come out from the full forward line. Iona has had a great game in there, full back on her, and now she seems to be wandering out around the middle of the field, see would she have an impact out there.
Well, I think at this stage her thinking is probably along the lines of let's try and secure victory. We're ahead, we shouldn't be losing. That looked a push in the back by Clodagh McIntyre. She gets away with it, and she gets a score out of it, and that's a point, 2 points for her.
Yeah, definitely a sneaky little push, and she got possession of the ball, and a great score by Clodagh McIntyre to put another point in it. So at this point you'd have to say Waterford need to get up the field and probably get a goal to get themselves back into this.
Well, she's absolutely delighted. Over there trying to win possession is Sarah Lacey. Got a lovely point earlier in the second half, but now it's Tipperary very firmly in control of this match. Arena Friday, bit wayward. Orla Hickey able to pick it up. Waterford need a goal, but where's it going to come from? Emer McGrath, 65 metres out, sees Quater running, or rather it was the substitute Miriam Campion who was doing the running. Couldn't take it anyway. Campion has now got into full forward, replacing Quater in there. So Sheena McGuckian replaces Ciara O'Sullivan. Brianna O'Regan ready to restart. Straight into the hands of Keely Corbett-Barry. Keely, who's a student at UL. As far as Clodagh Carroll, who's a student here in Cork at UCC. Clodagh takes the free herself, and the referee
pulling her back because she's outside the 45-yard line. She probably should have put it down and took it from the ground. So the rule is behind the 45-yard line. So very quickly Liz was right to bring it back, and it'll be a hot ball.
As the rain comes teeming down here, we've had sunshine, we've had everything in Cork this afternoon and this evening. Shona Curran waiting for this one along with Niamh Tracy. Niamh trying to win it there in the white helmet. More stalemate. All of this will frustrate Waterford, but as the seconds tick down, it's good news for Tipperary because there's nothing Waterford can do about it, and they've got a nice 6-point lead. Referee's going to bring the play forward, and it'll be a free closer. 65 metres still out from the Tipperary goal as Shona Curran flicks it forward towards Vicky Falconer. Can they work a goal situation from somewhere? Not if Emer Lockman has her way. Down goes Clara Griffin. Picked up here in the end by Keely Corbett-Barry. The wind whips up as the rain comes down.
You can see huge intensity by Waterford to try to get that ball up into the full forward line to get a score, but Tipperary holding their own and just pushing them out and keeping them outside that scoring area.
It's tips to lose, Kate, really, at this stage.
Yeah, you'd have to say it's tips to lose at this stage.
Niamh Rocket with this free. Lobbing it in there. and it's lobbed the wrong side of the post, and it produces nothing.
Hugely disappointing effort by Niamh Rockett. It was hard to know whether she was trying to lob it in or put it go for a score, but a disappointing effort by Niamh Rockett at this point.
Again, a reminder that the draw for the semi-final, an open draw, will be made at the end of this match. Ivan and the panel will be presiding over it. Roisin Howard gives this one to the waiting Niamh Tracy, and that one has gone the wrong side of the upright. Stays at 16 points to 10. Collecting this puck out is Quater Carroll, runs into the challenge then. Roisin Howard trying to win it back and succeeding in that. What an immense game she's played here for Tipperary. Coit Devan, 6 points from freeze by Coit Devan. That bounces off the stick of the goalkeeper, and it should have been in the back of the net, but for a miraculous save by Brianna O'Regan. Well, Brianna O'Regan tapped it down. In came Orla O'Dwyer. Watch this again. And look at this for the intervention by the goalkeeper. Really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'd have to say Brianna knocked it down to Orla, and well done to Orla for following it in. But what a great save by Brianna just to keep it out.
Drama right at the very end. Casey Hennessy, number 19, comes on for Waterford. Well, we've no goals so far, but we've very nearly had one. Coit Devan looking for her 7th point of this quarter-final. Rain still teeming down. It's of no consequence to Coit Devan. She's made sure with all of her frees.
Yeah, absolutely. And another comprehensive point by Coit, making absolutely no mistake.
Kept in play here by Sarah Lacey for Waterford. Looking like another very disappointing defeat for Waterford at the hands of Tipperary in the championship. Coit Devan goes chasing and leaves it this time for Miriam Campion. Campion steadying herself, playing it back here. Well, that ball by Clodagh McIntyre was never near the target.
No.
Another wide.
Another wide for Clodagh, but Miriam Campion played that ball till she saw someone in a better position. So not a great effort by Clodagh McIntyre. When she looks back on that, she'll be disappointed with her effort.
Play continues. Referee says go on. They do. I think some of the players thought there was a foul and they were waiting for a whistle, which never came. Quater Carroll playing it out. Two teams that look pretty exhausted at this stage after the strain of the effort of the previous virtually 60 minutes. Abby Flynn stepping out over the sideline, but helped out there. It's going to be Waterford possession. This free is taken by Casey Hennessy, deep into the Tipperary half of the field. Back there to collect it is Aoife McGrath. 3 minutes of additional time about to be played, and we'll be stepping into that in about 40 seconds from now. Aoife McGrath, I think, limping away from the last challenge.
And a very obvious free in for Niamh Rockett, but probably outweighed a little bit too far to threaten on the goal, so she'll have to decide to drop it in around the square at this point, Ger.
Yep, 7 behind. They've really got to go for it. Point is of no use.
Since the water break, you'd have to say Tipperary has definitely dominated this quarter of the game. They probably see that the finish line is near and in, so you can see their intensity. The last two attacks by Orla McGrath, Orla O'Dwyer could have ended up in a goal.
Well, Niamh Rockett has put it up and over the bar, got another white flag, and that's her 6th point of the match. But it's hardly going to make a difference at this stage. Jenny McCarthy, number 23, has come on. And she comes on in place of Sarah Lacey.
And you could say, Ger, it was a clever decision because she probably needs 3 scores to win this game. So that's 1. 2 more scores would bring them back level.
Well, let's see what will happen. Time is against Waterford. Driven away downfield. Coming across to mop this one up is Quater Carroll, slipping and sliding as she does so. helped out here by Keely Corbett-Barry. Now it's Abby Flynn. They're working it up slowly but surely. Lorraine Bray now, surrounded by 4 Tipperary players, ran into a maze, but Tip couldn't take the ball back. It's Clara Griffin who has it. Hooked out towards Abby Flynn again, dodging away past the challenge of Quater. Now it's Shona Curran. They need to get it in. They need a goal here to try and make the last few minutes even more interesting. Intervening there was Moira Eviston. Vicky Falconer picking it up, driving forward, 20 metres out. A shot which is stopped by the goalkeeper, Caoimhe Burke, and Tipperary retain their advantage. But the clearance isn't a very good one. Waterford still coming there. That was Fiona Morrissey trying to get that ball in, and safely away eventually by the Tipperary backs, but returned here by Lorraine Bray. Second minute of stoppage time being played. 1 more minute to go after this. Waterford with Vicky Falconer still chasing, never giving up, showing great spirit and determination, that's for sure. But the pass is overhit, and Quater is back there, helping her defence, right in the heart of her own defence, playing it away downfield, beyond everybody. Nothing Orla O'Dwyer could do. Line ball for Waterford. But as you can see, we're into the last 40 seconds, but they always say at least 3 minutes.
Yeah, at least 3 minutes.
Here's Clodagh Carroll. Wind against her, scorelines against her. And back there helping out is Roisin Howard. And down she went, fouled. Frustration on the faces of the Waterford players. Orla Hickey there, I think, just summing it all up.
Yeah, and the composure by Tipperary at this stage. They're holding their own, they're keeping Waterford out. They haven't really got in around the square to show any threat on getting a goal, bar that shot by Vicky Falconer, and it was probably a little bit too far out. Caoimhe Burke was very comfortable under it.
Last few moments of this game, where Tipperary have won and have qualified for the semi-finals by seeing off the challenge of Waterford. So for the second year in a row, and third time in 4 years, it's Tipperary beating Waterford at this stage. 6 points the margin in the end. There was only one between them at half-time. Bill Mullaney and his team will be in the draw very, very shortly now, along with Cork and Galway and Kilkenny. They are semi-finalists in the All-Ireland Camøige Championship for 2021. Kate, sum it up for us, please.
Yeah, you'd have to say Tipperary, when they got the wind in their backs, outscored Waterford the second half, 9 points to 4. They were very comprehensive. All their forwards got on the score sheet, and a very strong performance by the likes of Orla Dwyer, Emer McGrath, Clodagh McIntyre. Quater was probably a bit quieter today, but I'm sure she'll step up to the mark the next day. But they have that strength and depth at the minute, that they have all these other players to call on. And from a Waterford point of view, I think they came into this game off the back of a tough year, so they should take the positives from that performance. They stayed with Waterford, with Tipperary all through the game, and it was only in the second half, you would say, that Tipperary really pulled away from them.
So there it is. It's Tipperary safely through into the semi-finals. Final score of this quarter-final at Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Tipperary 17 points, Waterford 11.
Welcome back to Páirc Uí Chaoimh. Tipperary have secured their spot in the All-Ireland semi-finals. Premier County, the happy side, beating Waterford tonight, so they're through to the draw. That'll take place very, very shortly. Let's go down now to Roisin Howard. She's our player of the match and she's pitch side with Valerie Wheeler.
Roisin, congratulations. An extremely tough physical battle there today.
Yeah, no, definitely Waterford definitely brought it to us. We didn't expect anything else. Look, they were going to bring a fairly tough game to us, and they definitely did. And you know, like, I suppose we just kept fighting, and I suppose no one ever remembers who wins a quarter-final, so they're just there to be won, and we move on to the next stage.
How are you feeling now into an All-Ireland semi-final?
Yeah, I know, look, we're delighted. It's where we want to be. We want to be playing the Corks, Kilkennys, Galways, and look, it's going to be a challenge no matter who we get in the draw. So yeah, we're just going to, there's loads to work on from that, first touch, everything like that, so we just have to keep driving forward, and yeah, we're really looking forward to the challenge.
Congratulations, Roisin.
Thanks very much, Valerie.
Well, Roisin Howard, one of the six forwards who scored for Tipperary. We had Arena Friday at midfield as well. They really turned the screw at the beginning of that second half, didn't they, Elaine?
Yeah, they did. They kicked on, and they became the Tip that we're more accustomed to seeing the last couple of weeks there. Great little flick on from Orla Dwyer there into McGrath, and what a strike off the hurl. No hands, just over the bar. A really super score, and again it's Orla Dwyer on this occasion comes in down that sideline again and cuts in, sees the opportunity, scores a lovely point again from a fantastic angle. Then they started to work a few scores from further out the field when they couldn't really break down that Waterford full back line, and Arena Friday there with a super score from distance, and you could just sense a little bit of the Waterford frustration at this stage. They picked up 2 yellow cards around the 50th minute, and it just seemed to fall apart from them there. McGrath comes in on the end of that one again, and Tip were just able to pick off those scores a little bit easier than they had been up to that point. Waterford had really put them to the pin of their collar, and it took them till that 50th minute to start breaking it down, but when they did, Tip started to flow, and that's when they kicked on.
And I really think of that last point there that they got, that's the Tipperary that we've come used to seeing. They need to produce that, the diagonal ball into the space, then the pop pass back out, because they are able to score from distance, but we didn't see that enough today. Now I know the game was very stop-start, but for me, Tipperary's goal is to go a step further than a semi-final. They'll need to open. Now, there's a lot of things that they will be happy with, but much like what Roisin said there's a lot to work on too.
We're highlighting that, we'll say, the third quarter where they popped off a lot of scores and they had a spread of scorers as well. But in the fourth quarter, there was a lot of chances that went wide. That's not the kind of thing they're going to get away with next week.
No, there was tired shots there at the end. There was aimless shots, things that, we don't expect to see from Tipperary and the calibre of forwards that they have. But look, I think we need to credit Waterford as well. I think they set up super today. Iona Heffernan at full back did a massive job on Quater. Quater's one of the best forwards in the country, and Iona Heffernan had her hands full with her today, but she stood up to the task admirably. Shauna Kern in the middle of the field was an engine all day there, and Niamh Rock and Vicky Faulkner up front really took it to them. So look, from a Waterford point of view, there certainly is positives. I know they're stuck at the quarter-final stage again, and it's just, look, they'll look back at it, and I suppose they didn't perform last year's quarter-final. They came today, they performed, got within 6 points, had no Beth Carton, had Lorraine Bray on maybe one leg, I think, for a lot of that game. If the truth be known, she was probably carrying a bit of an injury there. So, it is a hard luck story for Waterford again, but there's such massive work being done at underage level there, and such massive development. Their Premier Junior team is doing well at the moment as well. It's imperative now that they get Derek Lyons to stay in there and build on something. There is something there for the future, and Waterford need to build on it.
Definitely.
Okay, well, Tipperary topped their group in the group stages and they've won their quarter-final here, so they're through to the semi-finals once again. Let's hear from their manager. Bill Malani is speaking to Valerie Wheeler.
Bill, congratulations. A close encounter here today in Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
Yeah, look, that's what we expected. You were asking me before the match what I thought or what way it would go. Told you it would be tough, I told you it would be hard, and that's what the traditional Tip and Waterford Camøige is doing now. We didn't expect anything less than that. We struggled at times, but I thought we worked hard and we got on top in the second half. There's a fair gale out there as well, so I'm delighted for the girls, proud of them, like that they dug deep and they had to. Waterford put us to the pin of our collar.
How's Mary Ryan's injury?
I don't know yet. Just literally came off the field there. She looks sore, but she's smiling, so I don't know if it's a contradiction there, but she got a right bang in the elbow there.
A week to go to an All-Ireland semi-final?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, delighted. Look, this is where you want to be. I mean, like, there's nothing, unfortunately, for Waterford after today, as I say, it would be for us. Look, we're delighted to be in a semi-final, waiting for the draw. We want to be playing the best teams in Ireland, and I think we deserve the victory in the end today,
Congratulations, Bill.
Thanks very much. Good luck.
Bill Manani not sure yet how bad or how good or how well Mary Ryan is, but Anna Geary, they probably will need her next week.
Oh, they absolutely will. And I'm just laughing when he's saying she's smiling. Mary's always smiling, like, and she's a warrior. So when I saw her going down, I knew there was going to be a problem, because she doesn't go down easy, and it's a race against time for them now. Much like in the first game with Kellyanne Doyle, like when you've only a turnaround of a week, even a small injury can just create a little bit of unrest in a camp. And like Mary's such a seasoned campaigner, like 17 seasons for Tipperary, so they will need her there, because she's cool, she's composed around the square, and whoever they meet in the semi-final is definitely going to be poaching for goals. So we're just going to have to wait and see if she's okay.
I know we talked earlier about drawing the short straw and having to play a quarter-final, but that actually would probably stand to Tip.
Yeah, you know, I don't think it's a bad game for Tip to have under their belt. You know, and it's probably not a bad way to go into a semi-final. Like, they've gotten the win out of it, they've eked out a win. Not playing the best Camøige, like, they have a lot to work on going back to training on Tuesday night, but they're going back to training on Tuesday night, I suppose, and that's the positive for Bill and his backroom team. You know, if they had shone the lights out there today and had an absolutely massive performance, they'd be on cloud nine going in next weekend and probably set up for a fall, whereas as it is, they'll be going in as underdogs, I think, regardless of who they're playing. We've spoken about them all year as probably the fourth team in this competition. So look, the week will suit Tipperary, and that performance today, look, while it wasn't outstanding, they got the result, and sometimes that's all you need in a quarter-final.
OK, well, after today's quarter-final face-offs, we now have our All-Ireland Championship Final Four, but who'll be playing whom in the next round of battles for the O'Duffy Cup? All will be revealed with the draw for the semi-finals coming up live after this break.
RTE Sport is giving you the chance to win €10,000 in cash to treat yourself, family and friends to the ultimate Irish getaway and experiences of your choice. So why not check out the Kingdom, where you can kayak the lakes of Killarney or drive the Ring of Kerry, take in magical Mayo and visit the historic town of Westport or climb Croagh Patrick. You can take in the best of Ireland and lots more with that €10,000 in cash. How you spend it is completely up to you. For your chance to win, answer this question. Dublin lost their All-Ireland Senior Football semi-final against which of these teams? Was it Meath, Monaghan or Mayo? To enter, call 15 17 71 71 74 or text the word GAME followed by your answer and name to 57001. Calls from the Air network will cost €2.03. Calls from other networks may be higher. You must be over 18 to enter. Lines will close at midday on Monday the 13th of September. Full details are on rte.ie/competitions, where the lucky winner will also be revealed.
Welcome back. I'm joined now by Uachtarán and Camøige Hilda Breslin, who will conduct the draw to determine the All-Ireland semi-final matchups. Hilda, you're very welcome to the programme. First of all, I'm sure you enjoyed the Camøige fair here this afternoon. Great to see the semi-finals into Croagh Park next Sunday.
Yeah, brilliant to see. I mean, Páirc Uí Chaoimh is a brilliant venue, and it's all about getting the players into the best venues. But to get them into Croagh Park for a semi-final gives them the run-up to the final. We were in with the league already, so, you know, for some of these girls, it'll be the third time this year they'll be in Croagh Park. That's brilliant. In a normal year we wouldn't get that access, so I have to say all a plus. And then live on RTE on the Sunday, so we couldn't really ask for anything better.
And I suppose given the fair we had today, given the matches and the two teams waiting in the wings as well, we are going to have competitive semi-finals no matter what you pull out of those bowls. Yeah, look, everybody says you've got to beat everybody to win in All-Ireland, and there's no easy games now once you reach the knockout stages. I'm not sure anybody will want to come out against anybody else in these games, but I'm looking forward to it. I think whoever comes out next Sunday at the end and are into the final will be two worthy winners, so really looking forward to it. OK, bring it on. Well, let's get the draw underway. So we have two bowls. Kilkenny and Galway are in one bowl because they can't meet. Cork and Tipper in the other. Do you want to take it away? Absolutely. So the first team out is Cork. First team out is Cork. OK, so we'll take one from the other bowl, and again we won't know the times or, you know, the order of these games. Cork are going to meet Kilkenny. Cork will play Kilkenny in the semi-finals. OK. And this should be Galway. Or sorry, this should be Tipperary. So Tipperary and Tipperary will be meeting Galway. Tipperary will play Galway and Cork will play Kilkenny. Two mouth-watering clashes. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's great because, to be very fair, we haven't seen probably Cork and Kilkenny in a little while. That'll be a nice matchup. And Tipperary and Galway is not a matchup we see that often. So they're two new matchups probably in lots of ways. So yeah, I think they'll be interesting. Hilda, thanks indeed for joining us for the draw. So we'll just take a confirmation then on the All-Ireland semi-final matchups. So next weekend, it'll be Cork versus Kilkenny and Tipperary versus Galway. Two epic encounters in store, and those matches, of course, as we mentioned, will be played as a double-header next Sunday, the 29th of August in Croagh Park, and we'll bring you them live here on RTE2 once again. So Cork against Kilkenny and Tipperary against Galway. The fixtures, the times, the throw-in and the order of those games have not been determined as of yet. So don't read too much into the graphic and how it came about. But Anna Geary, your reaction to that draw, first of all?
Yeah, I mean, I think any of the teams, like as a Cork person, I suppose you want them to be back there. Like, we haven't been back there since 2018. And anytime Cork get to finals, they have a very good record of winning them. But it's been Galway and Kilkenny the last 2 years now. And this is a repeat of last year's All-Ireland semi-finals. And Cork only lost by 2 points to Kilkenny. And they were well in that game right until the very end. Of course, Jim O'Connor got that goal at the very beginning to kickstart Cork. But Kilkenny nullified the threat too. So, I mean, it's hard to know how this is going to go. I think Kilkenny, have they learned a lot today? Possibly not, but they'll definitely have found the areas that they need to improve on. Cork, meanwhile, have had that chance to sit back, and I'm sure they'll have been watching today as well, and they've had a bit of time now to, I suppose, to get their own ship right. Possibly a little bit too long waiting. You know, you don't want to be waiting too long for a game either. So that might have a little bit of momentum in Kilkenny's favour.
Yeah, I was going to say that, you know, because, you know, sitting back and watching quarterfinals is all well and good, but you don't want to come into a semi-final cold. So is there any disadvantage for Cork and Galway in there?
Yeah, it's been a funny one this year. I think the group games were 3 weeks in a row, then we had a 3-week break to a quarter-final today, and then a week to the semi-final. So for Cork and Galway, it's been 4 weeks since their last competitive game, and alright, Galway got a good competitive game against Kilkenny, but the results of the tables were already known. Both teams had qualified. Cork and Waterford had qualified before they played their last group game as well. So, you know, from a Cork point of view, they've probably known from a long way off that they were going to qualify and top that group. They would have been the favourites for it. So look, they've had the advantage of knowing that next weekend would have been the weekend they would have been prepping for all along. But have they had the challenges along the way? I'm not so sure. Paddy's mixed and matched a couple of players. Pamela Mackey is back in there now. Will she start at centre back? I think she's back in because I don't think they could fill the void at full back. When Laura Tracy moved out to centre back, they were struggling to find a full back. So Pamela Mackey's back there now, and you know, is an All-Ireland semi-final next weekend against Kilkenny the place you want to be trying testing these things to see do they work. So, you know, they have had the time to work together and train and stuff, but it's really until you get out into the white heat of battle that you see, is it going to pay off or not?
If Bill Mullaney was still down there, I'd ask him to come up and give us his reaction to the draw, because, you know, Tipperary, think about it, right? They won their group. They've now won a quarter-final. They're into the semi-finals again, and that's the one. That's the monkey they need to get off their back. They need to try and win a semi-final. Will they be happy enough? It's a very tough ask going in against Galway.
It is, but again, so is it against Cork and Kilkenny. Yeah. I think like these 4 teams have been at the top of their game for the last few years, and I suppose for Tipperary now, they might feel that Galway are looking to get back into an All-Ireland final to right a wrong in their eyes that they left it behind them in last year's All-Ireland final. So Galway are going to be gunning as well. So I suppose really Tipperary now have a big ask. They are dying to close that gap, because they haven't been in an All-Ireland final since 2006. Like, I remember playing against them that day in Croke Park, and that's been a long time. So they'll be mad to get back. So for me, it'll be really interesting to see between Tipperary and Galway the intensity that they bring. I mean, Cork and Kilkenny, they're age-old rivals. There's always a rivalry between Cork and Kilkenny, no matter what sport you're playing in.
And even more so in the last 10 years as well.
Absolutely, so that won't be any different.
Speaking of Kilkenny then, Elaine, you know, we talked a little bit earlier on about how they've been maybe a little bit slow to reach top gear this season, and obviously you can only play what's in front of you, but they were nearly beaten in the league a couple of times. Are they peaking now at the right time? Is next weekend coming at a good time for them to meet Cork?
Yeah, look, I think so. I heard an interview with Brian Dowling earlier the year, and he said, you know, someone asked him about getting consistency over the 60 minutes, and he said, look, you're not going to dominate any team for 60 minutes at this level of championship, and I don't think he expects to dominate Cork for 60 minutes next weekend either. But it's when you're on top that you make it count, and I think that's what Kilkenny are really good at. Even today, they got off to a really good start, had that little bit of a cushion throughout, and so even then, when Wexford did get their purple patches, they weren't able to reel them in. So they look to do, I think, something similar against Cork next weekend. You know, they'll be very familiar with one another. We had, you know, Gemma O'Connor obviously and Anne Dalton both on the field down here last year, and both got a goal each, and that's kind of what stood out in that game last year. They won't be here this year, so it's up to new players, I suppose, to stand up.
OK, final word to Anna Geary on her beloved Cork. Have they been a little bit stop-started this year?
I don't think they've been tested enough to say that. I mean, you do what you need to do. I mean, like, that's the most important thing. They're in an All-Ireland semi-final now, and there's a place up for a final, like, up for grabs. Sometimes it's good to come in under the radar. It's good to not be able to have to show your hand, and I think Cork are in a good position now.
OK, well, the high-stakes hurling continues tomorrow here on RTE2. The Sunday Game Live will be on air from 2 o'clock for a big match build-up to the All-Ireland hurling final. A historic first-ever meeting of Cork and Limerick in the battle for the Lee McCarthy Cup, with throw-in at 3:30. And then tomorrow night you can catch full highlights and analysis of all the weekend's action on the Sunday Game Evening Edition, live on RTE2 from 9:30. Well, that is it from Páirc Uí Chaoimh this evening. Thanks to Anna and Elaine for joining me, as Wexford and Waterford bowed out of the championship this year, while Kilkenny and Tipperary march on to the All-Ireland semi-finals. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Good night.
We've played this game twice, let fate decide. I'm not losing now. I need to win.